So you're looking for new construction in the Auburn Opelika area? Well, stay tuned in this video because we're going to cover everything that you need to know about the builders in our area, especially all the build situation, everything going on that you need to know. And stay tuned to the end because we're going to cover the way to get the most equity when purchasing new construction. Auburn, Alabama area. I want you to make sure to go. Hey everyone, it's Alex Acuff with eXp Realty in the Acuff Weekly Group here in the Auburn Opelika area. If you're new to our channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification. That way you don't miss another video that comes out. Now look, we have people that reach out to us every single day that are just like you. So if you're looking to make the move to the Auburn Opelika area, we want to be the team that helps you make that transition. So go ahead, you can send us a message or go to our website, acuffweeklygroup.com, or just reach out to us right here on the screen. Now, and today, it's all about knowing everything about new construction in the Auburn Opelika area, so make sure you're watching this video before you purchase new construction. So number one is understanding all the different builders. Now, what's more important to me is knowing exactly what your price point is going to be when you want to buy new construction, because that will really determine especially which builder you go with. So if you're looking for a high-end custom home and you're pre-qualified, just say 600 and above, we can pretty much get you a nice custom home here in the area. Now understand, not all builders are created equal, so that price point is definitely going to reflect the amount of customizations and the quality of the product that you're going to get at the end. Now, understand that all the builders, they do have to abide by the same building codes. So now, if you buy a home on the lower price point that's a new construction home and it really fits your criteria, yes, it's going to be a sound home. It's going to be quality. It's going to meet all the codes that are here locally. So don't worry when it comes to, am I going to get a good house? It really just comes down to how custom you're going to want to make it. So understanding the builders is very important. Now, we work with people building in all different price points all throughout the year. So if you want to know more about that, you can just reach out to us, especially in the first consultation. We can pretty much figure out exactly really your top 3 builders that you should be going with and kind of go from there. Number 2 is custom options and timelines. So we've got 3 different categories that we will cover briefly. One is already picked. And what I mean is that the builder has already picked out all the different finishes in the home, from the countertops to the flooring, to the paint, to the finishes, to all the fixtures, everything that you're going to see in the house. Now, this is probably going to be more in the entry new construction price point. So if you're on a short timeline, this may be a really good option for you. Or if you're someone that gets paralysis by analysis, this may be a good one for you as well. So understand you can get a home with everything already picked out, just like if you were going and buying a resale home. It's already picked out and it's pretty much move-in ready at that point. Category number 2 is a fully custom home. Now you're going to experience this more on the upper end. And when we say fully custom, we're talking more than really 3 or 5 options, more like unlimited budget is kind of how you have to think of this. When we say fully custom, we mean everything from the floor plan, the lot, the placement of the home, from the shingles to the subfloor. You're going to be able to pick out every single little thing. So if you want high-end, West Elm, if you're looking for really nice Ferguson, really high-end ranges, ovens, microwaves, all that stuff, then custom is going to be the way to go. Now, with a fully custom home, you have to have a good timeline. So if you have a short timeline, you really can't have the expectation to pick out everything. So that really brings us to category number 3, which is a semi-custom home. Now, this is going to fit the majority of builders here in the Auburn Opelika area. So if you're looking for something in that middle price range, entry price range, or even really the higher price range, you can work with just about any of the builders here. We do have a couple that we recommend over others, so contact us for that. But the semi-custom ones are great because you don't have to worry about making sure that the width of the plan that you picked out fits the lot. The builder's already going to have a selection of homes that fits on that lot. So then you just walk into picking out the finishes as far as, the color of your shingles to the color, one of maybe 5 or 8 different types of floorings. You'll have at least 3 different fixtures. You'll have somewhere upwards between 8 to 12 paint colors that you can choose from, and you can kind of put that together. And yes, now, at the semi-custom and fully custom, there are designers that work with the builder as well. So if you need a little bit of help and you need if you're someone that needs to visualize it, they typically have a book on site to help you do that. Now, it's really important to have someone on your side because Here's what's really easy to do. It's easy to blow the budget. Now, if you have a fiduciary, if you have an agent, your agent, like me, helping you on that end, we have Mary Gill on our team, who is very versed in, she worked in interior design before real estate. So we'd love to walk you through the process. My father, like I said, is a framer and a builder. So very familiar with the new construction process and that whole timeline. So just making sure, especially on a semi-custom home, you're looking anywhere between 4 to 6 months on that build timeline. So if you're shorter, go with an already picked out home. If you have unlimited timeline, you can go fully custom if you want, or you can go semi-custom, and that's going to get you in really that 4 to 6 month range. Now, next up, very important, we need to know, do you have to sell your home in order to purchase a new one? Now, you'll notice that not all builders do the same thing. Some builders do not let you purchase one of their new homes without your home being fully sold, so no contingency to sell. There are builders that do allow a contingency, which means that we will put the new construction home under contract, and then we will list your home. Or if you're relocating to the area, what we're going to do is we're going to help you scout out the perfect agent that we can partner with to help make sure there's a seamless transition from wherever you live currently to coming to the Auburn Opelika area. So we're going to walk you through the build timelines. We're going to be speaking with the builder's agent and working on the closing timelines and making sure that all the financing and everything is in accord. Now, like I said, not all builders are going to accept a contract where your home is contingent. Now, some will accept a home with your home for sale, but it has to be under contract or clear of all of the contingencies on your previous home. So it's very, very, very important at this stage, at this part of the process, to have a professional that you are working with that is helping you make the transition, because messing up the timelines with the builder can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the end. Next, we have getting pre-approved. Now, this is something that is very, very important to me as your agent, as well as the builder, and most builders will not accept an offer unless you're pre-qualified. Now, what is that? So getting pre-qualified and pre-approved, it's just about the same thing. Now, pre-approved means that they've actually ran your credit, you've submitted an application, and we want to get you through that stage. Now, I will highly, highly advise, yes, you can go online and you can find a myriad of lenders, and they will show you exactly what you're pre-approved for, but they most likely didn't kind of take you through the beginning stages of being underwritten. And most builders in the area now, since we've had not such good luck with online lenders as we do with local lenders, they have a set of preferred lenders that they're going to ask you to be pre-qualified by. Now, does that mean that you have to go through the entire process with their lender? No, but it may open up some opportunities, and as well as if you do have a home to sell, using their preferred lender usually gets that ability to sell your home, that contingency on the contract. So, and we'll be working with you on those timelines. And the good news is that working with all the builders here locally so much now, most of the lenders that they're using here locally are the ones that we would recommend using anyways. And it's very important because the local lender has the trust of the builder. Of course, they definitely have a deal on the back end. So when we are going through the pre-approval process, we're not just going to be looking at the interest rate. We're going to be looking at what exactly that good faith estimate to close is, how many points they're charging you, because you never know. Maybe the lender back home where you did get pre-qualified or pre-approved through to make the transition to Auburn Opelika might be a better deal. So we're going to weigh all the pros and cons of working with a builder's lender and all the credits you may get with them versus using a lender that is not a builder preferred lender. Now, dealing with a preferred lender is important to know the incentives. Now, usually I have found more than likely it is very much advantageous to use the builder's lenders. Now, they typically have a couple selection to select from, but some just have one, and that's fine too. Now, like I said, going back to my last point, you want to make sure that you're looking at all the numbers side by side so you can compare apples to apples, but you need to understand what kind of incentives that you can get. Now, I will tell you from my experience, you may have the incentive of putting less money down. Now, that would be your earnest money or your builder deposit. Now, when you put them, that's the money that you're going to put up front on the line to make sure that you're going to go through the process, and that may be what the builder collects at the end. Now, if you make it all the way to the closing table and we have smooth sailing, you're going to get that as a credit back on the closing statement. So that's what that money is for. Now, what I have experienced more recently is that by using a preferred lender, you're actually going to, your earnest money is typically a little bit less, either cut in half or about $2,500 less. And then also the builder will give you incentives as far as they'll give you a certain amount that they're willing to go up on top of the purchase price of the home. And you can use that towards upgrades in the home, whether you want to upgrade the flooring or upgrade the carpet in the bedroom to hardwoods, or if you want to upgrade your lighting package or your fixtures or add blinds throughout, or even sometimes a fence. So you've got to be thinking of some of these things. Now, I will say when it comes to builders incentives, I would focus on putting those into the hard parts of the home. And what I mean is not the things that you can finish later. I like to put those into pieces like if you're getting 10, 15,000 from a builder and you can add a third bay garage, I will tell you from experience, that is a good investment, especially on the back end for selling your home. So that's a little bit of a tip when it comes to the builder's preferred lenders and those incentives that you can get with them. Next up is a very important point, and we want to talk about hiring a buyer's agent. Very important to understand what the difference between a builder rep in the model home is versus someone like me who can represent you in the purchase of a new construction home. Yes, we will walk through all of the contacts and getting you pre-qualified before even going into the homes, because that's very important, because I want you to understand where you stand financially. And as your voice and as your fiduciary, when we go into negotiating a new construction home, if you have a great credit score, you've got a good chunk of money to put down, you may have a home to sell or you may not have a home to sell, you have certain timelines that you need to hit. We want to be your voice in the contract. Now, a little bit about the difference between a buyer's agent and a builder rep is that a builder rep is the fiduciary for the builder. Understand they work in the model homes because they are the sales reps for the builders. So they want to sell you a home. Now, when it comes to whose interest do they have, number one, ultimately, it's going to be the builder because that's who's hired them to put them in the model home. So it's very important if you are a little skeptical about, did I get everything out of this contract when it was written? You may not know that if you just used a builder's rep. Now, one of the big myths that we hear when hiring a buyer's agent versus a builder's rep in the model home is that you believe that you're going to save money. I will tell you that is not true, because that's not the way that the listing agreements work when they put the home on the market. Typically, most builders have packaged in any owed commissions, especially in a new construction home, because we know that 90 to 95% of homes sell because another agent has brought the buyer to the table and made a deal that worked for the builder. So understand that is really just a myth. You're really not going to save any money, but what's important is working with a professional that is more seasoned or experienced with all of these builders, like me and my team. I mean, last year alone, we sold over 40 new construction homes to our buyers, and they were completely satisfied when moving in. When that happens is that we become very familiar with the builder reps. We get early access to any updates that are coming as far as any new releases for homes, any new subdivisions, insider information, because the builders want to inform the agents in the community, especially the ones that are at the top selling the most homes. So make sure it's very, very important for you to hire a buyer's agent to represent you and be your fiduciary when building new construction. Now, a little bit of a bonus if you work with me is that you get someone that is very experienced with new construction and building. I actually grew up in the industry. My father's a builder. I've flipped many, many homes, and I've done a ton of work on homes. So we're very familiar, and we would love to help you in that part of the process. Next, we're going to talk about inspections. Now, inspections on new construction homes are different from doing inspections on a resale home. So, of course, when you go into building a home, you're going to have a little bit of a timeline. Even if it is a pre-built home and everything's already picked out, most likely you're not closing in 30 days. And even if you are, you're still going to get all these inspections that we're going to talk about. Now, there's usually checkpoints along the line. Once we go under contract, the builder and you have come to an agreement on most of the finishes and everything that's going into the home, what the plan is moving forward, as well as an estimated close date. And then we begin the process of building the home. And then you're going to see it go really, really fast. If they don't already have the land graded, they're going to go in and grade the land. They're going to put in the foundation. They're going to start framing. And then once it's framed up, they're going to start putting in the plumbing, the HVAC, the electrical, and all the major systems into the house. At this point, there's a little bit of a checkpoint, and it's typically a framing inspection. It's where you're going to go through with me. You're going to go through with the builder's rep and also the builder on site that typically represents the main builder. So this is more of a superintendent. They're going to walk through the house, and we're going to go through every nook and cranny, every stud in the home. It's also getting inspected by the city at this point, or the county, on a framing inspection, and you'll see some spray paint, you'll see some marks, and you'll also see some tags, whether they passed or they failed at this point. And if we see any discrepancies between your plan moving forward and the home that you put under contract versus the actual one that is on the ground, we will make some notes and adjustments. Now, don't freak out at this point. If something is wrong, it's completely fixable. And that's one of the best parts about this, is that you have multiple checkpoints to make sure you are still on route to the correct closing date and getting you the house that you wanted to begin with. Once we have gone through all that first phase, then you'll have, and that's really more of your pre-drywall part. Before they go in and they'll do all the insulation, you'll see a lot of spray foam or blown-in insulation and all the batted insulation that goes in the home. Now we're going to make multiple checkpoints of going by the house too, just to walk through and do a visual inspection ourselves, just to make sure nothing got missed. And it's really important, especially if now what you're also going to see is typically flooding around the foundation. Don't be worried. They haven't done final grading yet. There is no landscaping, right? So once we get through all that, then you're going to have another point after the drywall and everything, and we'll typically bring in a home inspector at this point, and we'll do a orientation to the home. And at this point, this is where we will meet again with either the builder's rep or the builder themselves, and we'll walk through the home, and you'll get they typically call it the orientation at this point, and they're going to orient you with all the things as far as where the main shutoff valves are. They're going to show you your breaker panel, all the nuances of the home, where to change your filter, really get you acclimated to the home so you can see exactly what you need to know as a new home owner. Now, we're also going to be hiring a home inspector at this point, and I would recommend that you go with one of our home inspectors because they are very qualified to inspect all of the new construction. Now, one of the things you need to know at this point is that there's not a perfect home, and all builders are not created equal. So when you inspect a home and you have a professional home inspector come in, they're going to be looking at the roof. You may see nails left in the roof from a toenail from them working on the roof. You may see that they didn't finish something on the fascia or the soffit, or they beat something up kind of bad. You may see that they missed a piece of trim around one of the cabinets, or if there's really just shoddy work on the drywall, if there's cracks in the corners, all the different things. If there's cracks in the concrete, if there's a leak underneath one of the sinks, if there's a missing fixture, if one is loose, all of these things are going to be noted on the home inspection. And here is one of the greatest parts about buying new construction that I absolutely love, is that we can not just pick out what you want fixed and it gets fixed, but we get to actually take the entire inspection at this point, and we get to hand it over to the builder. And the builder is going to take that home inspection. They're going to use that as basically a checklist along with what the city has given them to get a final CO or a certificate of occupancy. They're going to go down that list and they're going to fix everything. They have to, because you're buying a brand new home, right? So that's not your last inspection. we're also going to do a final inspection on the home as well. So that's going to be typically the day of closing or the day before closing, where we're going to walk through the home. We're going to take your home inspection and anything else that was noted on their checklist, and we're going to make sure that all of those things are completely done to your satisfaction. And that is the key, is that it has to be done to your satisfaction, because you are the home buyer and you're going to get what you want, what you're paying for, right? So we're going to make sure that we have gone through all those different inspections before we go to closing. The last thing I really want to talk to you about is the close date. And the close date is typically set a little early, especially when we go under contract. We're going to have an estimated close date based on the previous homes that the builder has done and as well as their process. Now, typically, we don't get an absolute hard date until after the cabinets are in. That's really the biggest checkpoint when we know that we are going to cruise to closing. Now, let's just say you have something work-related that comes up and we have to maybe adjust or work around. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you can get your work schedule and that we are helping you really land this plane right on time, right on the runway, and get to closing on time. It's very, very important that when you get the close date from the builder, that you do everything in your power to make sure that work doesn't get in the way, or anybody that's coming to visit, or any other plans that you have. We want to make sure that we have really marked off that whole day and that we've planned your moving trucks, we've planned all of your utilities, we've planned no work, so you can close on time and have smooth sailing all the way through, because we want that experience to be a 5-star experience, and that's what we hope to achieve when going to the close date. Also, you need to know that the builder typically doesn't have much movement on that date. So what are the penalties in case you can't? Now, sometimes builders they usually have a number in the contract where if you have to push closing, if you as the buyer has to push closing, you may owe additional funds. Now, we have worked with many builders where we've really explained your situation as your fiduciary, as we should, to really negotiate and help move that date to make it absolutely work with you. So if you can't get something moved, let us know as soon as possible so we can go to work and get that moved with the builder. That way we get everybody on the same page and it is a happy, happy closing. Now, I told you to stay to the end, and if you've been with me, I've got a little bit of a note for you here. Now, equity is everything when building new construction. So I tell everyone, if you are going to buy new construction and you want the most equity, go into a subdivision when it's first being developed. Now, let me explain a little bit more about what that means. A lot of times we see developments get launched, and typically the first people to get in there are the ones that buy homes at the lowest price. Now, over time, typically every couple months or at certain checkpoints with builders, they always raise their prices. I swear it always seems like builders do not have a subtraction symbol on their calculator, so don't ask for it. Now, what we have found is that if you want the most equity, because let's just say you go in and you buy a new construction home and you're early in and you bought the home at $270, I could almost guarantee you by the time we get to closing, which could be 4 to 6 months later, that same home, same finishes, everything is probably going to be like more of $285, $290. And so you're going to see a lot of equity growth as the development continues to get finished out, which is really exciting, because if you're someone that looks at it as an investment for yourself, now understand purchasing a primary residence is not an asset. It's actually a liability, because no one is paying you for it, right? Now, but if you want to grow the most equity in that home, I would suggest going into a development early. If you want a full list of those developments, just reach out to us and we can get those in front of you today. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching this whole video about everything that you need to know before building new construction in the Auburn Opelika. Now, as I said earlier, we want to be the boots on the ground. We want to be the trusted team that helps you make the transition from wherever you are to the Auburn Opelika area. So go ahead, feel free to reach out to me and my team. We can hop on a Zoom call, have a conversation, set up a game plan, and get you moved to our area. And we'd love to be your first point of contact. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we will see you on the next video.